What up, world? Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. You already know what it is. We got a pop-up live stream today. My brother, one of my favorite musicians, Lucky Brown's pulling up for a quick talk. My brother, Nathan Womack, founder of Thematique Records, coming through. Keep it locked. We'll kick things off when they join. Appreciate you joining. We'll kick things off soon. What's going on, my man?
Hey, brother.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Stoked to
and
have
you?
I'm fantastic.
Awesome.
Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
Day.
Yeah, pre-order, exactly. It's like I had to ask Nathan yesterday. Are we doing pre-order or announcement of pre-order? So anyway, yeah, it's officially going to be coming out 1 month from today.
I love that. I love that, and it sounds nice, by the way.
Thank you.
There we
I want
go.
you to see my. Let's say what?
Oh, Nathan is joining.
I'm glad this worked. I was really anticipating some difficulties getting
Yo.
tuned in.
Hey.
Nathan.
Hey.
Heart.
How you doing, Nate?
Good. How are you guys
Very
doing?
cool. Fantastic. Happy to be here. See, we got folks joining right now. Very cool. So if you guys are ready, I'll go ahead and kick things off. Oop, looks like we got some lag. Nathan, are you there, brother?
He's Walla Walla, you know, it's off the grid.
Yeah. That's out there. For those that don't know, Walla Walla is a little out there.
So is
All
Port
right.
Angeles.
Yeah, it's true.
We gotta get a
Touche.
triangle right now.
Yeah. It's true.
Very cool. If you guys are ready, I'll go ahead and kick things off. Yeah?
I'm ready.
Cool. So I
want to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, go ahead. Cool. So I just want to welcome everybody to what I would refer to as a pop-up live stream. This is something that I had kind of mentioned to our guests today, you know, to celebrate the pre-order release, the new Funkways 45, Another Mother. And not to mention, I would be remiss if I didn't give the background on how all of this kind of took place. So I want to say earlier in the year, you know, I had caught wind of Thematique, and I was just really following them. They're from Seattle. That's important to me. And one of the first releases at the top of the year was this Killer 45 right here. You'll see it says Funkway Series, Lucky Mystery Now Orchestra. And this was my introduction to the gentleman in the lower left title. He goes by the name of Lucky Brown. This year, I have been exploring his music, learning a lot about him. I had the opportunity to meet him one time, which was fantastic. But what I've discovered through Lucky Brown is that he has this blueprint that, you know, we don't see too often these days. And when it comes to funk, soul, and jazz, I simply like to sum it up as saying he makes genre-bending music that's warm. And if I had to give a statement that would allow this to resonate with all of you, Lucky's music is the same feeling when you get home from a really long trip and you sit down on the couch and you're like, that's how Lucky's music makes me feel. So without further ado, everybody, I would like to welcome our guests, Lucky Brown and Nathan Womack, founder of Thematique Records. Guys, I'm so happy to have you here. I would love it if we could just drive some quick intros. Nathan, I know you've been here before. You're not a guest to the Waxvillain live streams, but this is the first time for Lucky Brown. So if we could just tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and your ties to soul, funk, and vinyl.
Oh yeah, for sure. My name's Nathan Womack, founder of Thematique. I'm from St. Louis, via everywhere else, all over the place. But I was in Seattle for the past 11, 12 years. That's where we founded Thematique. And I also produce my own solo work as well as work with a few other artists as well. Oh, that's so beautiful. Man, that first one just gets me every time. So nice. Oh.
I'm Joel Ricci. I live in Port Angeles, Washington. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, but have lived all over the United States. I am a recording artist. I make music in the rhythmic soul, funk, black tradition. I played the trumpet, studied jazz in college, got a degree in composition from Eastern Washington University, kind of over near you, Walla Walla, Cheney. And I'm steadily producing more and more and releasing more and more. And I'm probably going to do this a couple times during this stream, but say thank you to Nathan Womack, because he's holding my hand and helping me to sort of curate works that I have done in the past that didn't really have a home. Obviously, you guys showed some Tramp Records. Tramp Records has been extremely supportive of me for 10 years. And so if you wanted to hear most of the things that I'm most proud of, you can start with Tramp Records and then follow the breadcrumb trail, to Waxvillain.
Very cool, very cool. So Nathan, I want to start with you, man. Why are you guys here today? Tell us what's so special about today.
It's a pre-order of Funkways series, part 2, the newest installment, the latest and greatest. Not the end, not the beginning, somewhere right in the middle, perfectly sweet, a little bit savory. It's just right. It's crazy. The A side is crazy. The B side is crazy. It's somehow totally different from part 1, but also in its own unique universe. It's really great.
Yeah. And where do we go to buy this? What's the release dates? What are all those details?
Pre-orders today, waxthematic.com. The release date is a month from now, so it's October 1st. They are in hand. This is not one of those things where, oh, maybe we'll get them, maybe we won't. People will have to wait for it. You're not going to have to wait for it. It's manufactured. It's good. It's ready to go.
That's awesome.
I'm sure that Nathan could be convinced to get one out early. There's must be some way to get something early.
This is true. Yeah, we can make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, September 23rd is coming fast.
Right around the corner. Right around the corner.
For sure.
So, you kind of mentioned that this sounds different than the first 45. I would love it, if Lucky, can you just let us know who's involved in this project, who plays on this 45?
Oh yeah, so obviously Ollie Klump, my main drummer for 10 years. We've been working together for so long. Ollie Klump is setting the foundation, the drums. He's on Mesquite Suite. He's on the yellow 45 that you showed. Don't Go Away. He's definitely one of the most constant members of my combo. I got Ben Bloom from Polyrhythmics, the leader of the the sort of artistic director of the Polyrhythmics, guitar player. Delvon Lamar, which obviously worldwide celebrity now, which is exciting that we have gotten to work together, and I hope to do some more. The bass player is Jason Gray of Resin Tooth Polyrhythmics fame. Also the person who's been doing all the recording, a lot of the recording for Delvon Lamar, and also a lot of great coal mine releases in the last few years. I think he was affiliated with True Loves as well. But it's a kind of a little community. But the guys on this recording are very much a part of the same community. You know, every certain person in the group. I think there's Thomas Deacon, who's the sax player who I've played with since the beginning of Space Dream, and I mean, we could talk all day about all the people. There's a lot of people in this thing. I said Delvon. Who am I missing? Art Brown.
Yeah.
Brilliant, beautiful saxophone player, part of Resin Tooth, part of Polyrhythmics, Theoretics. If you haven't heard them, I recommend them. Just a very sweet and futuristic player, and he gets a real big cameo in Another Mother Part 2, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful.
Very cool. So part of the reason that I wanted Lucky to list these names, folks, is because these are the same people that you saw when I held up the Resin Tooth album. These are a lot of the same key players that you're seeing on Wax Thematic projects. So I think it's important to know that, you know, as you're kind of exploring more music through Wax Thematic. But more importantly, my real question comes down to, yeah, I noticed there were a lot of the same key players on Funkways 1, and now we see 2. But in contrast, Lucky, talk to us about how the sound is different and where you were trying to take it with this 45.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because I was kind of wondering. This represents sort of the next installment of the Funkways series. A lot of the same players are present on this, but this is like a recording session that's separated by 5 years. The first 45 was produced in a recording studio using recording studio techniques and recording studio gear. This Another Mother was recorded in a living room, and it was recorded. Jason Gray brought his robot thing, you know, he brought his Johnny Five and set it up in the living room.
Johnny Five.
And you know, and he made it he made it happen where which fit the philosophy of what we've been doing. As you know, Mystery Road was recorded in the exact same spot on this exact same carpet, Ollie Klomp's living room. And that right there was our experiment, trying to see how far we could push recording in a living room. You know, what can we get from this living room experience? And so Another Mother is in a lot of ways a hybrid of the Mystery Road experiment and the LMNO, you know, Funkways 1 experiment, the Lucky Mystery Now Orchestra experiment. So you kind of put those together and you get that tune. I've always maintained that it doesn't matter how you capture a song. What really matters is the vibe, the feeling, you know, the relationships in the room. And if it's right, then you could record it and capture it on a piece of parchment paper, and you'd probably get it. You know, you get the feeling. So
very cool. Your preference, I'm assuming you'd rather be making the music in the living room than the recording studio. Where are you most comfortable, and is there a difference between the two that kind of sticks out to you?
The living room's closer to the kitchen.
Say no more.
Yeah, we always make a big meal for the band before we work. And yeah, because I mean, honestly, the recording itself is just a snapshot, but the experience is a wide, large, long-term, it's a relationship, you know, with each other, with the environment. So we like the living room because we can just go, the snacks are right over there, we got food, we got, you know, the refrigerator's there, you know what I'm saying? So it's important to our family that we put ourselves together sonically, musically, and in the same kind of relationships that are formed over the dinner table or over the bar or over the, you know, in the backyard by the barbecue. You know, like those same relationships have to be the same. You know, in the studio, on the backyard. My biggest regret is that I don't get to just hang out with these guys as much as I'd like to. I do think that 90% of what's happening, what you're hearing on the recording, is the stuff that didn't get recorded.
Wow. That's really cool. And you said something that really means a lot to me, and that's the word family. And oftentimes we don't get the insights into what happens before we start recording the music and everything like that. So I think that's really special to collectors and just fans in general to kind of have that sort of intel, because that shapes the listening experience, knowing that there's good vibes, right? As you know, before, after, during. Sometimes it's like somebody just receives something over email, they record over it, it goes back, and you lose so much, in my opinion. I mean, there are records that when I found out they were made without the people in the studio together, I just naturally thought, oh, that wasn't what I expected, and it loses something. So I'm really glad that you
Sure.
highlighted the family and kind of that little
It's
insight
not
into the heel
to
press.
yeah. It's not to negate that style of recording as well, though. I mean, that is another way of putting people together, and I kind of actually appreciate it from a metaphysical level.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the room expands from here to England or wherever, or France or Russia or whoever's working with you far away. You know, your concept of room and of atmosphere, it expands. You know. I mean, I think if we do it right, we should be able to expand our concept of the room we're working in all the way to the ends of the universe.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. So what I'd love to know next, we understand how everybody comes together and the positive vibes. How did the whole Funkway series come about, Nathan? You know, where was it brewing? What led to it?
It was really Resin Tooth. This is how it all started. I mean, and Resin Tooth, even how I got connected to them is like a whole other thing. But it was essentially Nate Spicer from Resin Tooth when we met up to talk about his LP with Wax Thematic. He all of a sudden stopped me mid conversation. We're talking about Resin Tooth, the record, as a project, and he said, "You need to meet Lucky Brown." And I said, "What?" And this was totally off topic, like out of nowhere. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but something like just clicked in his mind. And he's like, you got to meet my friend Joel. And I'm like, okay. And he said, you and him are the same. You're already friends and you don't even know it yet. And I was
Thanks,
just like,
Nathan.
okay, cool. I mean, I was just like, this is cool. I trust it, because this has happened to me multiple times since I started Wax. People are like, oh, I see what kind of person you are. You need to meet this person over here. So when Nate Spicer said that to me, I was like, okay, I guess I really got to meet this cat. And it was like the first email, boom, instant connection. You know, all of a sudden, like, we're creating projects like that night or whatever it was. And then maybe a few weeks later, or I can't remember what it was, months later. I mean, this was in the before time. So he came over to my place in Seattle, and all of a sudden, Joel and I just, it was crazy. It was like we had been friends or, you know, brothers like our whole life, somehow, like spiritually connected in so many ways, musically and everything. I mean, we were freaking out over I was showing him all the records I brought back from China, and he was like, oh my God, and we're just geeking out over all this stuff that we had never met before. And I wish I would have recorded the audio. I mean, in a situation like that, I usually would. It could have been an amazing podcast episode or something. But that's how it started. And then he just started sending me demos. And he was like, hey, this is what I have. And right away I was like, oh, this is nasty. This is crazy. I mean, I think the first one he sent me was maybe Cool June.
Whoa. Whoa.
So like, imagine that being like your first introduction to like, hey, maybe we should work together. I was like, oh, can we do a whole album of this? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's so much more. You don't even know. And I didn't know about Mesquite Suite. I didn't know about the Tramp 45s. I knew nothing. And he was like totally not in my universe yet, but he was already doing his own thing. So imagine, I felt like literally I struck gold. Like, it was just crazy. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. And I think, if I remember correctly, I can't remember who came up with the idea of a series. I think it might have been him, because I feel like I remember being hesitant, like, you want to just double down on that? Like, that's a little heavy. But when I heard Cool June, and then he's like, oh, and here's La People, and I heard La People, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do a whole run. It's cool. Let's just plan it out. But I told him the artwork has to be perfect. Like, it has to be really well done, very different. And I know exactly who's going to do it. And Joel's cool. He's been with me every step of the way. I've been with him every step of the way. We're just very, very cosmically synced up.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Two questions off this. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You know, I think it's so important. I'm just trying to be this cheerleader and amplify the sound of Lucky's music. You know him really well. What's something that you would tell people about Lucky that maybe we wouldn't see if we just did a search or we listened to his music? A reason to check Lucky out, something special maybe you would know only.
You mean personally or musically or just kind of
Music.
all the above?
Musically, personally, yeah.
Oh, musically, personally. I mean, I would just say as a whole, if you could just have one conversation with him, you'd be okay with that being the only conversation you ever have.
Wow.
Because that's how impactful he is in terms of just positivity, creativity, spirit on a spiritual level. He's just like, hey, this is me. This is who I am, and I just want to put good into the world. And
Yeah.
you get that from him. And it's like
Yeah.
whenever we talk on the phone, we just go and go and go because we're just both connected on that level. So yeah, I would say if you're lucky, if you're lucky enough to talk to him once, it's totally worth it and memorable. Not to put him on the spot, but that's just the truth.
I love that.
Well, now I got that Waxvillain. You got to give me a chance to say something about my friend Nathan here. So
yeah, please.
Nathan has been, in a way, over the course of our relationship as it's developed, you know, we're not really in a transactional or extractive. I'm not trying to get something from him and get something from each other. We're in a true collaboration. So I always knew with my project, it's a really sacred thing. You know, the work that we do is very intimate and sacred, and like it doesn't function well as a product. Okay, so you know, so if I'm going to bring this thing to the marketplace, it has to be ushered to the marketplace with the utmost respect and like care. And that's where Nathan Womack comes in. Like, he understands how to respect the circumstances surrounding the music and the creation of it, and really the best part is he does things that I can't do to help you and the person buying the record hear and feel the circumstances, you know, feel those things. It is not a commercial, it's not a product. It just can't, it's not a product, it's a message. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you treat it like another widget to feed into the commercial capitalist machine, it's not the right kind of way to treat it. So anyway, I got to thank Nathan Womack for understanding that and being able to midwife it into the world in that way. I'm in the business of making the tunes, writing and recording, and that's where I excel. Nathan's he's also a recording artist in his own right, of course, but he's also in the business of curating and ushering tunes into the world, and that's meaningful. So I appreciate, and of course, you know, Waxvillain, you have a role to play as well, and you are right in the pocket. We are a ecosystem together.
Thank you. I love that. I love that.
Hey, Waxvillain, I have to tell you really quick that, like, Joel will send me stuff that's crazy, like crazy songs, finished demos, ideas, whatever, and I never ask him, oh, can we put this out? Oh, can we? He just does his thing, you know. And when he decides I'm ready to do this with you, I'm like, cool, honored, totally down. So that's like how the relationship is. It's very just balanced. It's super cool. It's never me like hounding him like, wait, we got to do this. We need another one. You know, it's just, hey, if it works, let's do it. And it's the best way. I love working like that because it's just no pressure, like really like all hands off, you know. It's cool. Hands on, hands off in the same way. It's beautiful.
Well, no pressure, but also a lot of pressure. Like, it's
true.
It's like dealing with somebody's child, or, you know, their fragile kitten. You know, you you don't take lightly the relationship you have with a kitten, you know, and
Yeah.
and that kitten needs a lot of attention and a lot of like
Hmm.
care, and so yeah, in one way it is a easy and calm, you know. Nathan's got skills in setting up benchmarks and goals and visions and plans. I got I have got more skills in in just like channeling concepts, but
Yeah.
but hammering those concepts into something that can be applicable into the contingent world is not my not my strong suit.
Sure. No,
The
that makes a lot of sense.
a crazy little tidbit is that Joel has a project that's coming out that I'm not going to say what it is, but all I'm going to say is if there was a label that was like offered this project, they would be very jealous and angry that they're not getting to do it. And I'm just going to say I'm not getting to do it, but the thought never even crossed my mind because when I realized what it was, I was like, oh my God, like I'm so excited for you. And me as a fan, I'm going to buy it. Like this is crazy. So it's amazing, man. The relationship is just very, very compatible. It's really cool.
I
We
love
just
that.
support each other in so many ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Great. We got a couple questions before we dip. I'd love to ask you, Joel. You know, you've got a great body of work. I was flashing some of the records earlier. What does the Funkway series mean to you, and how does it kind of fit into the larger body of work?
Yeah, good question. Funkways is obviously a play on Folkways, the Folkways Smithsonian series. My wife, Ivy Ross Ricci, actually has the CD box set that is in a LP shaped box. And a couple winters ago, I just kind of like devoured it. You know, the Folkways box set is really important document in the history of folk music. I mean, you wouldn't have Bob Dylan. You may not have Greenwich Village without it. You know, you may not have Leonard Cohen without it. It is an extremely important document, and even in the liner notes that go along with this book or this 3 CD box set, they talk about how I'm sorry, the person who curated all the materials, his name just escaped my mind right now, but they've
Was
gone
it
through and
Lomax?
found these old, it wasn't Lomax, but it was I want to say I'm embarrassed. I should have looked this up, but anyway, they've gone back and found tapes from these old studios of this old blues and old Appalachian music and old fiddle tunes and important music of this time, and they've found other missing parts, and even up until the 60s and 70s, they're like, the guy already curated the best stuff. It's already there. He got the best stuff of those collections before, you know. So anyway, Funkways was a concept that I had been working on to try to curate the best stuff of my collection in that same way, and sort of just try to talk about the community and the social cultural element of what we were doing, and Funkways, the 45 series. I think honestly, the 45 series as Nathan conceives it is on a way higher level than I ever thought it could be. But of course, it's not it's not over. You know, the Funkways story is just being told, and so my theory is that Funkways represents um, uh, neighborhoods and families and cultural tradition of areas of the world. In this case, specifically West Seattle, where most of my guys live and work. And it's a document that talks about the funk ways of our community. You know, that's kind of the idea behind it. And the beautiful thing about the 45 series is that it's exactly doing that. It is exactly taking these pictures of those moments and bringing them to the world in this beautiful way
Hmm.
that, like I said, is way higher than I would have dreamed on my own.
I love that. I love that. That's great.
And important to note too, it has to be a 45. it's got to be singles. I mean, they're just these little bite-sized things. You have to participate with them, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to get up and do something else and just let it play. You are engaged with
You are engaged. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I want. I want engagement.
I love that. And that really puts things in perspective. Of course, hearing what Nathan had to say earlier, guys. Before we leave, I'd love to know what's next for you. What's coming up? Anything we can look out for? How can we follow you? Where can we find this stuff? I know for those people that haven't heard the new 45 yet, go to the Wax Thematic site. I've got a link in the bio. You can hear a snippet of it. Must have.
All I can say is it's Bandcamp Friday, everybody. You know what to do. Spend your money. Share, buy stuff, and get the tunes, because so much good stuff just popped onto my radar this morning. I'm like, the Tramp Records Bandcamp Friday? Whoa, my God.
Crazy.
I'm like,
Tramp has a lot.
I haven't even begun to start thinking about it. So many good labels happening right now. Yeah, obviously, you're the Waxvillain. You're the node. You are the node. I would tell everybody just
two copies.
I needed doubles.
Can I have one? I don't even have one.
Yo, Joel, let me tell you something. The second one was meant to sit on ice, right? Go in the vault. If you don't have a copy and you need one, I would be honored to give it to you. It came from Juno. You know what I mean? I was so surprised that it showed up today because I felt like I was talking to Nathan like 2 nights ago. I'm like, yo, you want anything from Juno?
That fast? Damn.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
But
they are.
If you need one, man, I got you.
Okay, thank you. I'll trade you for something good.
Guys, just tell us again what we can look forward to next. Just remind us where we can get the 45, and then we'll close out.
You can get the 45. You can pre-order it, waxthematic.com right now. Official release date, October 1st. It's going to be worldwide. It's also the first Funkways that we're releasing through distribution. So that'll be later in the fall. And yeah, all I can say is what's coming up. Ooh, part one. Yep. All I can say is what's coming up is more.
I love it.
More Lucky Brown, more Joel, more Funkways. I think people are going to be very surprised about what happens over the next few months. That's just all I can say is the word more.
I love it. Listen, the reason that I held this up again is because I want to remind everyone that Funkways Volume 1 sold out, and a lot of people struggle. Oh, is that salmon color I see right there in the turquoise?
What?
Oh, yeah.
That is nice.
In the flesh.
That is nice.
Very exclusive. Anyways, folks, don't sleep on this. It will sell out. Wax Thematic does not repress records. Must have. I've been talking Lucky Brown for a while. It's time now that you've seen him, you've heard from him. Cop the vinyl.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, man.
Have a fantastic Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll be in touch offline.
Cool. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, everybody. Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. We're out.
Bye.